Today we're going to be using the Roland SP-404MKII as a Groovebox, and we're going to get to it as soon as I shout out today's patron, and that shout out goes to Travis Swicegood. Thank you so very much for the support. Let's get started. Okay, I'm actually looking forward to this video quite a bit, because the 404 Mark II lately has become really one of my favorite pieces of gear of all time. And one of the things I often see about it is that people know about how much of a sampling powerhouse this thing is. You know, it's the SP line's signature trait. They're all incredible samplers. But the 404 Mark II actually can be used as a Groovebox. It has a sequencer and different patterns, and you can chain those and stuff like that. So kind of at the most basic level today, I just want to see what it's really like to use it as a Groovebox, because I've never done this in a dedicated video before, and I've really never done it in a dedicated session by myself before either. So as you can see, I've got the Teenage Engineering OPZ here, and this is just going to be our sound source for this video. So we're going to start off like I do with so many sampler videos and just get a couple basic sounds into the 404 and then remove the OPZ from the equation. So let's go ahead and sample this kick drum. We'll just put it right here on pad 13. Not sure if it actually got it, so we'll hit it a second time. Let's go in and look at our waveform here. Yeah, we'll definitely want to normalize this and take the second one, I think. Yeah, I could go in and mess with levels, but this is probably going to be faster, especially because I can just fast forward through this and you won't have to see it. Okay, we've got a kick. Let's get a snare drum now here. Hi-hat. And an open hat right here. Okay, we've got our drum sounds. We'll mess with those in just a minute. Let's go and grab some synth sounds. In case it's not obvious, all I'm doing is grabbing the samples we're going to use to sequence and create, just a basic track or two. Okay, so now we've got a kick, a snare, a hat, and an open hat. And then we've got a bass, a lead, and a sound we can use for a chord. We can now get rid of the OPZ and actually get started on the video. So first things first, let's go address our drum samples. I just want to remove the gate on all of them. And I want to go in and adjust the mute group of the closed hat and the open hat. Cool, let's go and adjust our synth samples now. Now instead of removing the gate, what I want to do is shift in the pitch/speed to access the envelope. And I just want just a little bit of release on there. Cool, just like that, perfect. So let's recreate, how about Ghost in the Galaxy, which is one of my original tracks. You may know the intro from the older channel videos. So when it comes to using the SP-404 Mark II as a Groovebox, you can either resample patterns and play them live to create new samples that just become the sections of your song, or you can go in and actually use the pattern sequencer. And once you're in the pattern sequencer, you can actually record patterns in one of two different ways. You can do real time, which is where it just records everything you play in real time, or you can hit the remain button and use TR rec, which is going to be that signature TR style punch-in sequencing where the 16 pads here become your 16-step grid. I'm going to try to use real time here and the chromatic mode. First thing I'm going to do is set my tempo to, we'll go 132, and we're going to go 1 bar long. You can see quantized down here, QTZ is set to grid 16. So 16 steps on the grid, that's what I want. I'm going to hit record. Then I press the pad to start. Before we do that, I'm going to exit out of everything, select the bass sample, and hold shift and go to chromatic mode so we can actually figure out how we're going to play this. If I click in the knob here, I'm going to get my different scale degrees here. Okay, let's just do it like that, shall we? So before we go back to pattern select mode, I'm going to hold shift and hit pad 9 to turn on my metronome. Then I'm going to hit pattern select, record, pick the pad I want to record to. Right here is fine. 1 bar, 132 BPM. Yep. Going to hit record. It's going to say press pad to start, but we're actually going to go shift chromatic mode to access this again. And I'm going to try this. Here we go. There we go. We're in. Just like that, pattern 1 is our bass line. Awesome. Now let's try doing these drums in real time. So for that, I'm going to hit resample. I'm going to pick a pad that I want the drum loop to live on, which I'm going to put it right here on pad 5. 1 measure long, 132 BPM. It says press pad to start. Here we go. Okay, just like that. Let's turn off gate and hit loop for this sample. So it's not my best work, but let's see how it lines up in the pattern, because now that that's a sample, we can actually put that on step 1 of our pattern. It should be noted though that you do need to turn off loop if you're going to use it in a pattern. So we have loop off for that sample. So we're going to go back to pattern select. We're going to hit remain now and do TR rec, okay? So now I hold subpad and I pick the sample that I want to use, in this case pad 5. I'm going to put it on pattern 1, or beat 1, sorry. Okay, so that's one way of doing it. It works, but what if we want the timing to be a bit more robotic? Well, let's go in and delete the sample that we made where we resampled the drums, and let's program the drums in using the TR rec mode. So, pattern select, pattern 1, record. I'm going to reselect pattern 1. We're still on TR rec. Okay, if I hit record now, sequencer starts running. We use subpad to pick the sample that we want to sequence, in this case, the kick. That's where I want my kick drum. Let's now move to the snare drum by holding subpad, picking pad 14, which is where the sample of the snare drum is. I want that on beats 2 and 4, which are steps 5 and 13. Let's get our hi-hat. We can remove them the same way too, and we can actually adjust the velocity before we put them in. Let's make this an open hat. I'm going to bring the velocity even further down. Maybe I want it up a bit, actually. Okay, just like that, we've got our pattern, right? Now we could actually resample this pattern as its own sample and then just use that again in more sequences to continue, working. But I want to show you the proper way to do it instead. So we want to add the melody here, right? And the melody of this song is actually 4 bars long. So if we go to pattern edit, you can see we've got the option to select a pattern, in this case pattern 1. I'm going to click in menu and go to duplicate. And now we have 2 measures. And we can do it again, and now we have a 4 measure long pattern. You can follow along on the display there. Okay, just like that. Super, super easy. So even though we just made that 4 measures long, let's actually copy this pattern into a new slot and add the melody there. So copying patterns just works the same as copying samples. Hit copy, hit what you want to copy, hit where you want to put it, copy again. There we go. Now we have 2 of the exact same pattern. This one's going to get the melody. So first, let's figure out how to play the melody. So I'm going to go back to just normal sample mode here. Select the sample I want to use, and then hit Shift and 4 to go to chromatic mode. Cool, so that's pretty easy. We'll exit, pattern select. Now we want to record into pattern 2. Even though it's not lit up, we can still select it. We want to make sure we're set to real time right there. And now if I hit record, it's going to say press pad to start. And we go shift and chromatic, and now we're good to play. 1, 2, 3, 4. And if that sounds a little too loud, we can actually just adjust the overall volume of the sample itself. You can do that in real time when the sequencer is running. There we go. Play the first pattern, cue up the second one. Here we go. That's fun. Then if we want to do some sound design, that's all done right here on the sample itself, of course. So on bus 1 here, let's go and put some reverb on it. And then let's hold remain and take some samples off of the reverb. I just want the lead to be on the reverb. Cool. We can then go back to the sample select here and go to bus 2 and then put the drums on bus 2 and let's put a bit crusher there. Here we go. Let's go back to the pattern and have a listen. Switch the pattern there on the fly. So there you go. Now there are things like pattern chaining that we can get into, but this video has already gone on long enough, I fear. So I think we're going to do a part 2, a follow-up to this video. Because as you can see, while it's not the most straightforward process, you can indeed use the SP-404 Mark II as a proper Groovebox, and there's actually quite a bit you can do with it. In fact, I think the flexibility of being able to switch between the samples and the pattern select so quickly on the fly, and you've got 10 banks of 16 samples each, 160 samples per project that can all be used chromatically. There is a lot you can do with it. And by the way, I didn't mention it, but if you go into the pattern sequencer, let's say we want to record a new pattern, check this out. You can go up to 64 bars long, and those can have full sequencer resolution as well. So very cool stuff. Let me know what you thought of this one. Let me know if you would be interested in more Groovebox uses for the SP-404 Mark II. This thing is such a Swiss Army knife. There's not a lot that it can't do. So yeah, let me know if that's something you would be interested in. If you did enjoy this video, be sure to leave a like on it. If not, you can always leave a dislike. That's okay too. Doesn't hurt my feelings. Just makes me try that much harder next time. Either way, be sure to hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell. Thank you all so very much for being here. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye.